Daughters of freedom, arise in your might. March to the watchman's justice and right. Why will ye slumber? Wake up.
Dear Mrs. Stanton, well, I have been and gone and done it. So we are in for a fine agitation in Rochester on the question. It is splendid that without any concert of action so many should have moved here so impromptu. But I'm awful tired, and for 5 days I have been on the constant run, but to splendid purpose. So, all right, I hope you voted too. Affectionately, Susan B. Anthony. It's 1872. 15 women dared to vote. It was a time when women were not allowed to vote in the United States, but these women decided to challenge that rule. They registered to vote in a barber shop. Then a few days later, they walked into a general store in Rochester, New York, and voted for the President of the United States, not knowing if they would be arrested or even sent to jail. Mama Votes is told through the eyes of young Faye Townsend as she watches her mother join a group of women led by the famous suffragette Susan B. Anthony, who shock Rochester, New York and the nation by registering and casting their first votes. Mama Votes is their story.
My name is Madeline Myers, and I wrote the story, Mama Votes. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for their support and good wishes for the launch of our book. And I want to thank Flying Corgi Media for publishing Mama Votes, so you will have a chance to read it. I became interested in this event several years ago while working on another book on women and voting. It seems that I always knew about Susan B. Anthony and her struggle to gain the right for women to vote. But I knew nothing about this event in November of 1872, when she and 14 other women actually voted in a presidential election. As I read more about the event, I learned that it was at a time when there were some new changes to the Constitution of the United States. The 14th Amendment said that everyone born in the United States is a citizen, and the 15th Amendment said that citizens have the right to vote, and it cannot be challenged based on their race, color, or previous condition of servitude. It does not say only men can vote. So I can imagine these women thinking, I was born in the United States, so I'm a citizen, and citizens have the right to vote. I'm going to try to register and vote in this election. Don't you find it hard to believe that there was a time when people did not think women should vote in elections? I know I do. I was so inspired by the idea of these women deciding to test the new laws and argue that women should vote that I decided to write Mama Votes. The story is told through the eyes of young Faye Townsend as she watches her mother join a group of women cast their first votes. They are led by the famous suffragist Susan B. Anthony. I tried to focus on the actual event. I wanted to imagine what it felt like that day when the women didn't know what might happen. I wanted to imagine how Faye felt standing there watching her mother vote. And I wanted to imagine what it would feel like if my mother had done something like that. Something else happened while I was planning to write this book. I visited my young granddaughter, and she wanted to read a play aloud. There were only a few of us, but she assigned each person a part and directed the play. And we had so much fun reading it out loud that I decided we needed to include a play with the story. I asked a very talented friend, Priscilla Stevens, to write a play using my story, and I think she's done a wonderful job. Doing the research on this event taught me a lot about how hard women worked to gain the right to vote. I hope you enjoy reading Mama Votes. And I hope you take some time to think about what voting means to you.
The book also includes a 2-act play of Mama Votes that you can read or perform at home, in your library, school, or any place where you and your friends gather. Through the story and the play, you'll feel what it was like to be part of that early group of brave women and the thousands who followed them in the fight for the right to vote. You will feel their triumph when women finally achieved that right through the passage of the 19th Amendment to the Constitution in 1920, exactly 100 years ago.
Hi, everybody. My name's Priscilla Stevens, and it's been my pleasure to work with my longtime friend and colleague, Madeline Myers, on the book, Mama Votes. Madeline conceived of the idea of writing a book about women's suffrage aimed at students between the ages of 9 and 14, and she approached me with the idea of accompanying this novella that she was writing with a play about the story that would allow students to be able to get together with their friends or families and read around a table or perform a play so that they could identify the characters who actually were there for the beginnings, the middle, and the final ratification of the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote. As a longtime theater educator, I was really excited about writing a play that would get kids involved in understanding history through actually participating in it, which is what a play is going to do. I'm going to read you a little section from the introduction to the play from Mama Votes. Very often, reading a play aloud or acting it out will help make the characters' feelings and actions very real to you. You'll feel as if you're a part of their story and a part of their lives. It's also a great way to learn how to think quickly and to respond to other people. Actors call this playing. And since you're pretending to be these characters, it really is just that. When you see how your character responds to other people and situations in her life, you'll feel as if you know her better. Then you can put yourself in her place. What would you do if you were told that you couldn't vote because you were female? Or if you're a boy, imagine how you would feel if you were told that you couldn't vote because you're male. That's what putting yourself in someone else's place means. Putting yourself in someone else's place is always a good way to gain understanding of other people's lives and experiences. You can do just that by imagining yourself to be another person or by acting in a play like this one. So my goal is for every student who reads the story to have a great deal of fun and to really begin to feel what it must have been like for these women in 1872 and forward through 1920 to have to fight for the right to actually put their marks on a ballot, and how grateful we should be to those women who fought so long and so hard to gain this right. At the end of the play, you'll have the chance to gather around and talk and decide about what you feel about having the right to vote and how important it is. So I hope you enjoy the play and that you have fun reading the book, and that this will be something that will really mean something to you going forward as you realize how important it is to exercise the right to vote.
Hello, my name is Janet Dubner, and I've been a member of the League of Women Voters of Chelmsford for over 40 years. On behalf of the League of Women Voters, we want to congratulate Flying Corgi Media for the publication of Mama Votes, a story about Susan B. Anthony and one event in the long struggle for women to have the right to vote. The story of Mama Votes starts in 1872, several years after women started working on gaining the right to vote. Many women worked for decades and dedicated their lives to win the right for women to vote. Finally, in 1920, women gained the right to vote with the passage of the 19th Amendment. We are pleased to celebrate this 100th anniversary It is particularly important to us because when women got the right to vote, they didn't stop. They realized that being able to vote wasn't enough. Led by Carrie Chapman Catt, they founded the League of Women Voters to educate women so that they are well-informed voters. For over 100 years, the League of Women Voters has been a nonpartisan, activist, grassroots organization dedicated to educating our population. And now it's not for women only. Men are part of the League of Women Voters too. Our motto here in Chelmsford is democracy is not a spectator sport. So you see, this 100th anniversary is important for the League of Women Voters as well. As you read Mama Votes, think about the many women in your lives. Talk to them. Are they registered to vote? Did they vote in every election? Talk to them how important it is to exercise this vote that was so hard for us to gain. And while you're at it, find out when you can register to vote and when you can vote in your first election. Congratulations again to Flying Corgi Media and Mama Votes. Thank you.
Arise in your might, march to the watchman's justice and right. Why will ye slumber? Wake, awake, Lord, your legion's light doth break. Sunder the fetters custom hath made.
To purchase your own copy of Mama Votes, visit flyingcorgimedia.com or your favorite bookseller.